YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. I'm so excited to be back. First, we got a New York Jets playthrough coming at you. This is going to be the entire 2026 season in this video. That's right, from off-season, draft, free agency, regular season, everything's packed into this video. The Jets are a complete disaster, but your boy came ready to draft. If you guys love Front Office Football 9 and other football sim content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, drop a comment, tell me what you think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Just wanted to quickly say thanks to all of the returning subscribers and all the new subscribers as well. It's really shocking to see the growth that this channel has after I take months off. So really appreciate everybody sticking around and supporting the channel. And we're all settled into the new place and we're ready to go. So let's get to it. We've got our New York Jets playthrough, the long anticipated New York Jets 2026 playthrough, rebuild series. Just a little bit of background. We're starting here in 2026, coming off a 5-12 season. So I basically just simmed through 2025, didn't really do much with it other than I made both of the trades that the New York Jets made in real life. Number one, Quinnen Williams, who I dealt at the deadline in 2025. Did not receive nearly as much as the Jets did. I got a second and a fifth back. Also sent Dallas a third. And then in 2026, I tried to also deal Sauce at the deadline, but his cap hit was too large, so I tried to restructure him and bring down some of his future cap hits, because that's apparently what everyone wanted according to the trade machine. And still wasn't able to do anything, but then got to the offseason and was able to move him once there was some space that opened up, and sent him off to Indy for a 2027 first. And then we swapped second and third rounders in 2028. So did not get nearly as much as the real Jets did for Sauce Gardner or Quinnen Williams. Shout out to the real Jets for out negotiating me there, I suppose. We ended up going 5-12. You only got 11 games from Justin Fields. We'll take a look at the roster in a second and break that down. But just looking at our ranks here, the offense was terrible. The defense was solid. Yards allowed, it seems like they outperformed what they actually were. Some of that may have been due to the Quinnen Williams trade too. I'm not really sure. But we're pretty mediocre across the board. Now taking a look at the roster here, you can see what I was dealing with at running back last year. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, both of those guys really got dealt some brutal grades. Justin Fields actually decent. They made him extremely toolsy, which is sort of realistic, but his accuracy is kind of strong. He obviously just timing, read the defense, and good decision making. Those are his poor traits. Confidence. So he's somewhat of how he is in real life. But the running backs kind of got screwed, and then I think the rest of the roster was somewhat accurate. But this is what we're looking at. Let's talk about, well, first of all, I should mention too, in this playthrough, I'm only acquiring quarterbacks via free agency. So no trades, no drafting. Undrafted free agency is open, but I'm going to be pretty limited in terms of what I can bring in at quarterback. And I'm also going to have to probably pay quarterbacks. I'm not going to have rookie quarterback advantage. So I like that. It's going to force me to do something different than I've normally done in drafting a quarterback or trading for a quarterback in that sense. So I'm going to have to really build up the ecosystem around Justin. The other thing here is that let's into the roster a little bit, but I think this is going to be, I don't normally clean the slate as far as the roster goes, but in terms of what we have as building blocks here, on the offensive side, we have Fields, who we're probably, I don't know that I'm going to find much better in free agency. We're probably going to have to build around him, and we'll talk about how we're going to do that. Garrett Wilson, we're not moving off of his contract. We could. His bonus isn't that large, but we may have a restructure coming at some point to help us out because, well, 64 for a receiver is really good. And I think he's going to fit with Fields pretty well. Positive chemistry. And talking about what we're going to put around Justin Fields, I think speed is going to be massive. Route running probably also a pretty big thing, just to reduce the amount of decision making that Fields has to do if you have that instant separation. So I think Wilson's going to be huge for us, and we're going to try to surround him with other receivers that follow suit. We're also probably going to try and force him into not having to make crazy decisions by getting him a good line. So we have Joe Tippmann here, and we'll have to pay him this offseason. Armand Membu is a project at this point, but all things pointing to him being an elite right tackle. And then I think, looking at our unsigned players, we have Josh Myers here too, who's 27, and we can probably bring him back as a solid center, maybe another tackle, or guard, so maybe Vera Tucker, and then we can address the line a little bit more in free agency. But I think we got some good building blocks there. We'll have to reshape the running back room, obviously. Looking at the defense, this is a little bit different. Right now, our two best players are Brandon Stevens and Michael Carter, our corners. But Brandon's 28, Michael's 27. So I don't really see them playing a part in this rebuild, unfortunately. And normally I'm trying to find whatever you can to stick around. I think with corner, it's a little bit different. They're going to age out pretty soon. So I think if we can, we want to try and find some spots for them on another team. Trade them away and get some more draft capital. Because I just don't see them really fitting into what we're doing right now. They're not fitting the timeline. So when you're looking at the defense, probably the best assets left are these other 58 overall guys. There's a bunch of them. Will McDonald, Harrison Phillips, Sherwood, and Jarvis Brownlee. So Jarvis is fine. He's going to stick there at corner. Good man corner. That's cool. Jamian Sherwood, kind of a lighter middle linebacker. More of a run defender, certainly. But can play in zone. And then Harrison Phillips is 30. Probably don't see him in our future. What's his contract look like? $7 million with no bonus. So we can effectively clear up $7.5 million in space by getting rid of him if we want to. And then we have Will McDonald, who he's in the final year of his deal, 26 years old. He has a little bit of coverage to him. He's 245 also. So I'm like, does he fit more in a 3-4 scheme? Right now, we'll talk about our staff in a second as well, but we're built for a 4-3. So I'm like, does Will McDonald even apply if we stick in 4-3? I think we're pretty flexible. We can choose our scheme going forward defensively if we want to go 4-3, 3-4, whatever. And you can either adjust with Will McDonald and trade him off or flip him to see if he works as an outside linebacker, like an edge guy. But defense is like, I think we want to just clean slate it. I think we want to trade these two. Before we do that, let's take a look at the staff real quick. We are in the retention period right now. So coaching cycle stuff, like starting at the top with Aaron Glenn. Pretty solid, like CEO, head coach. The development kind of stinks. Discipline and interviews is really all he's got outside of the motivating. And then intelligence and scouting both pretty low. And then you start to look at, so he runs a 4-3 and is a secondary specialist. We also have Steve Wilkes, who's a secondary guy, Chris Banjo, who's a secondary guy, and we're moving on from all of our secondary pieces and starting over this defense. Steve Wilkes, also a 4-3, as well as Chris Banjo. Steve, smart guy, decent developer. I'm not really married to him if we're moving on from all of that. Chris Banjo, he's okay. I think was like a decent play caller, but he's in an assistant coaching position. I don't think it makes much sense for me, and is not really great at anything besides interviewing, which is fine. That's good for draft time, but like, not really. This is looking, and then Corey Smith, kind of mid. This is looking like I'm wiping the slate on the coaching staff as well. The only one I could see myself sticking with necessarily is Tanner here, our offensive coordinator, who really strong developer, 43 years old, decent play caller, and he's pretty smart too. Quarterbacks focus, spread offense, and I think the spread is really going to work with Fields, and probably why he's a 56 right now. I do think it's a good fit for what Justin Fields is, because you think about keeping him in the gun and having everything in front of him, because he's not a decision maker. He's not reading the defense very well. So having him under center all the time probably isn't the right move. Getting 3-4 receivers outside, preferably speed receivers to help clear out space, because all he wants to do is look at his first or second read and then take off. So I do think, to an extent, you don't really have to worry about pass timing necessarily as much in a spread. I do think this sort of makes sense for him, and he can just rely on his athleticism, and we'll just have to overload him with receiver talent. But I do think the spread works for Justin Fields. So when I'm looking at this staff, I'm probably going to do the thing that the Jets didn't do and fire everybody, including Aaron Glenn, instead of firing every single coach except for Aaron Glenn. Don't know why the Jets did that in real life. Disaster. But I think it makes sense to maybe keep Tanner or find a better spread style coordinator to bring in instead of Tanner. Possibly with like offensive line focus. I think that's going to be probably one of our bigger strengths. We'll be able to fill in the blanks with some decent guys from free agency, hopefully. And then we have Tippmann and Membu in there. But quarterback focus is fine too. Maybe a receiver focus if we can bring in some decent receivers, something like that. But Tanner's the one where I'm like, maybe he sticks around as our OC. But that's the analysis. I think looking at what the offense did last year under Tanner, I really like this view. It looks like we ran 60% under center, roughly 30% shotgun, 8% pistol. So just over 40% of our plays were getting Justin out from under center. And we were passing quite a bit from out of under center as well. I just don't think we had the running back play to allow us to get into anything creative. You could see how many times we're running out of options, only 4% or so. So maybe that kicks up if we have a decent running back to go along with everything. Same thing with play action, where we're only up 2.5%. So pretty much a straightforward, just chucking the ball quite a bit. We did get a decent percentage of quarterback runs. That's Justin Field effect. And only about 6% sack rate. That's not bad. Even spread amongst the receivers. Not a lot of slot action, but I think the target percent for running backs is interesting more than anything. But I think getting some more receivers in here will be able to allow Justin to use his legs a little bit more and justify the amount that we're passing the ball. And some runs, just like a couple of decent running backs to help things along as well in the run game and set things up in the option. Maybe get some explosives out of the option or play action. So let's try and make those couple of trades that we mentioned here. We have Brandon Stevens. All right, so New England and Tennessee. I'm fine sending to New England. It's really not going to affect us in the short term. So we send that third we got from Indy and get a second and a sixth back. 6th rounder in this draft, 2nd rounder in the next one. Let's check what Tennessee would give us for Stevens as well. So giving up a 6th for a 3rd and a 7th. I think I like that better. 3rd and a 7th, and we're only giving up a 6th. I think instead of giving up a 3rd for a 2nd and a 6th, I think that makes more sense, and we send them to Tennessee. So we'll do that. And then Carter as well. New England is the lone interested party left. Let's see what they'll give us for Carter. All right, so we're giving up a 4th for a 3rd and a 6th. Let's just check and see what Cincinnati wants to give up. All right, so they'll move us up 4 picks. I'm good on that. Move up 3 picks. And pick up a 4th. So a 4th, essentially. Carolina, we give up a 6th for a 4th and a 5th. A crazy return on that, but what is better? A 4th for a 3rd and a 6th, or a 6th for a 4th and a 5th? I'll take the 4th and the 5th. All right, so now we look like this. A lot more of a clean slate, and we have a lot of draft picks. 5 in the first 2 days, 4th, 5th, 5th, 7th, and then next year we have 2 firsts, a 2nd, 2 4ths, 2 5ths, a 6th, 2 7ths, and then 2028, 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th. So we're missing a couple picks in 2028, but that's going to help stack the deck a little bit, give us some darts to throw. We have 162 in cap space. I don't know what that actually nets out to, but if yes, we have 121 if you take out our draft picks and our dead cap. All right, let's figure out this coaching situation. I do want to build around a motivator. I'm actually really liking how Clint Kubiak is looking. Oh, I think it's either Clint or it's Matt Eberflus. Eberflus is obviously stacked with hundreds here, but he's good at scouting and a decent young player developer, but I guess developing is kind of a wash between these two. The scouting advantage is for sure with Clint, and he's a spread coordinator. I think the tough thing is if I end up bringing in Clint Kubiak and we find out the hard way that Justin Fields isn't that guy, we're going to have to rebuild the thing. But he's 39 years old, Clint. And Jim Harbaugh down here, 62 years old though. Carol Austin, really smart motivator. Great scout. I think Kubiak makes the most sense here. Really his only spot where he's lacking other than interviews is play calling. And we do have Tanner Engstrand to fall back on as our play caller if we really need to. So pairing Clint with Tanner makes a lot of sense to me, and we can build around the spread. And I think Clint being 39 years old is really intriguing as well, because you would expect the intelligence number to come up from 60 at some point. Let's do it. Let's hire Clint. All right, so now we're looking at offensive coordinator, and we know we're operating out of a spread. Jermaine McElmurray. He's pretty interesting. Smart guy, good play caller, good scout, decent developer. We're looking at Tanner side by siding that. Tanner's a better developer. Play calling and intelligence spot on, and not as good of a scout. But we do have the good scouting from Clint. So it's not like we really need that right there. And a running back focus here for Jermaine. I think I'm going to stick with Tanner here. All right, so now for defensive coordinator, and this is going to be really important because we've essentially flipped from a defensive-minded head coach to an offensive-minded head coach, so we need this defensive coordinator to really lead things on that side of the ball. Dave Tube, a bit of an older group here. The top 3 are the best play callers. Tube, a good play caller and a good scout. Smart. There's a lot of smart play callers up here, and we can go whatever direction we want to, but we need somebody who could probably develop as well, who can just run the ship here. Hey, McDonald's sitting here, 38 years old. He's not quite where I'd want him to be in terms of a guy who's going to just run our defense. Danny Smith looks pretty good, but also kind of old, 72 years old. He's going to retire. Fred Nye looks like the best all-around option right now, given the age as well. Really smart play caller, decent scout, decent interview. Wesley Cochran could be a good option, but man, he's young and just the intelligence not quite there. I'd be a little nervous handing him the keys this early. I think Fred Nye is the answer. He's 50 years old. Really smart play caller. Decent scout. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a turn here. I think Leslie Cochrane, 32-year-old, true 3-4. He's a defensive line focus. Right now he's unemployed. Solid interviewer, solid scout, solid play caller. solid developer. He's only 32. You expect him to grow a little bit into the job. Really low intelligence right now. And hopefully that doesn't affect us in the early going. And I think we could get an assistant coach that's maybe a bit older that can help him out. So I think we start with Leslie Cochrane and hope he turns into something great for us. And then we get to our assistant coach. We're looking at true 3-4. Probably want someone intelligent. Oh, Alfred Gallagher can help us out with scouting. Not as much of a play caller, but a linebacker guy. I actually really like this fit. Alfred Gallagher. Just get a smart coach in the room to sort of offset that low intelligence that Cochrane had. I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. There are some other good ones, though. Christian Madeir. No, I actually think Alfred Gallagher makes a lot of sense to pair with Cochrane. Let's do it. So yeah, we get the classic young up-and-comer to the old dog here. Fred. All right, cool. And then now we go into our trainer position, like somebody smart. I think Cameron looks fine to me. Cameron Newell. All right, so we've effectively pretty much remade our staff aside from Tanner. Tanner is going to remain as the OC, so we have Clint Kubiak. Just a quick refresh. Clint Kubiak, quarterback focus, spread head coach. Really sort of like a CEO type of mind, decent developer, really great scout, motivator, discipline, to oversee the operation. Tanner Engstrand to go along with Clint as sort of a really smart play caller and great developer as well. Quarterback spread focus as well. And then we have Leslie Cochrane at DC. Decent play caller, really young hotshot guy, decent developer, pretty good scout. So he's going to help us build this defense back up from the ground. And we just hope that his intelligence comes along in the meantime, in the next few years, as he gets a little experience in the role. And then to pair him with Alfred Gallagher, who's more of a motivator, developer, really smart. He's been in the game for a while. He's 60 years old. Pretty good scout. Just helps beef up some of the holes that Cochrane presents. Linebacker focus, true 3-4. So I've never run a 3-4 defense before. This will be really interesting. But I really like the idea of this group, and hopefully it's much better than what we had previously with the Aaron Glenn era. So now we're in the draft preview. Really strong tackle up at the top. Love to see that. Running back, D tackle. Remember, we're not taking a quarterback, but I wouldn't take a 7.7 quarterback this early anyways. There's going to be some decent receivers down here. That could be a move for us. An edge for our new 3-4 scheme. Could be a thing. I don't think we're running back away. So I don't think I'd probably take one of these running backs, but 3-4 D end could be useful. Nose tackle. We don't have a nose tackle. Not a strong draft class to have the number 3 pick, though. Would possibly trade back. Not sure. We'll think about that. First things first here. Franchise player deadline. I don't really see an opportunity here. Just get right into free agency. Fields is going to want a big extension. 5 years, 128. He hasn't earned that. Not a huge signing bonus, so it's not like we'll be bound to him, but I'm not really interested in extending that quite yet. Tyrod wants $4 million. Steph Hannigan. It's not really athletic enough. kind of building this spread scheme. Brady Cook, but he's not really good. So yeah, we could throw him on for 980 and just see what happens. Hardy Frazier is an undrafted free agent that we picked up, and he was not bad. 41 catches. All right, nice. So he'd be a couple mil. Good in blitz pickup. He's not strong. He's got some speed. I wouldn't mind it. Resign Frazier. He's got some upside. Probably moving on from Hall, Keelan Robinson. These guys stay on. That's fine. Andrew Beck. A decent run blocker, but I'm not going to commit bonus to that right now. Stone Smart, decent blocker, catching traffic. He's a pretty big target. A decent blocker. He's not bad. I don't know that I'd be willing to commit a few mil to having him stick around though. Jeremy Ruckert, a little bit different, but again, I don't know that I'm committing money to those guys right now. I think we just keep Mason Taylor on the books and just see how he develops. Garrett Wilson. Irvin Charles is the interesting one. He had an okay season. He's got some speed. What's he looking for? A few million? Yeah, I think it's really important that we get Justin Fields on the right track. Irvin Charles, I'm down to bring him back. We have Adrian Smith still on the books. Alan Lazard is a mentor. We also have Tyler Johnson who's looking for like 5 mil because he had a big year. 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. I think that was more by volume than design. So I'm going to say probably not. Alan Lazard as a mentor for a year. I don't know. We'll see what we can find in free agency. I'm not going to commit to that. So we have 3 flankers on the books right now. All right, cool. I think that's fine for now. We're probably going to have to add to that room. Josh Myers, he's going to want a contract. I'm willing to give it to him just to keep the chemistry up front. It's not a crazy. It's a 5-year deal, nothing crazy. He's a fine center, 27 years old. It'll probably be a good contract to keep around. Joe Tippmann, I want to make sure we lock him up while we have the money, so I'm going to do that now. Filling out the rest of the line. Elijah Vera Tucker, he wants a mil to stick around. That's fine. 1-year deal. He's a decent backup. John Simpson is a no. 28-year-old Chukwuma Okorafor. I'm really only interested if he could play left tackle. I think I'm good with moving on. He's not really all that good to begin with, and moving him to left tackle will probably see a bump down. So 52 overall guy. Because I'm planning to have... Yeah, we got Olu Fashanu at left tackle here. Let's maybe look at Max Mitchell instead. And a mentor too. I'd be willing to bring Max Mitchell back first and foremost. And we'll let Okafor go to free agency. Just hope that Armand Membu can develop as our starting right tackle this year. Defensive side. So we're in a 3-4 now. That's where things get a little bit interesting. We have Will McDonald, who's probably, I think, a better fit for 245. So he's got some pass rush ability, a little bit of coverage. I would think he probably makes sense as an outside linebacker in this scheme. I might wait for position changes to do that. Considering, well, he's getting the last year of his deal anyway. We'll wait on that. Clemens, 263. Tyler Barron, he's got some pass rush ability for sure. In a 3-4, I think I'd probably like to see him Strong outside. Probably like to see him at outside linebacker as well. So knowing those two are probably switching it up. And then we have Jermaine Johnson here, who's a 13 mil hit. And he's not good. He's 254. Let's experiment on him. What if we send him to strong outside or weak outside? Whoops. He's about 254. 6'5". What if we send him to strong outside? Is that going to help him at all? Not really. Let's just release then. It's a free 13 mil. Harrison Phillips. He's 30. Can we trade him? Probably not. I think he's too old. I think we just cut that. We could use the $7.5. Jade Tufele. Oh, he's going to be a lot. 13, 17, 18. A lot for Byron Coward as well. So we probably let both of them walk and just start fresh on the D-line. Jermaine Sherwood. We extend him, bring down his cap hits for the next couple of years, and then he plays on 8 mil for the final season. I don't know. He might be somebody that we move on from next season. Ooh, Mark Clayton. He's got some good coverage skills. Throw a little. He's got some upside. Clayton. He can get to a 43 as a weak inside. Then we have a couple of weak side linebackers here. 233. Quincy Williams with some pass rush strength. These guys are going to be edge rushers. Francisco, we already have under contract for the next few years. I think we let Quincy walk. We probably let all these guys walk. They're all pretty old. Isaiah Oliver, pretty old. Chris Boyd, pretty old. And then we have a couple of corners here that are young. Tony Adams, safety. It costs a couple mil to keep around. Breathe this up. Andre Cisco, not really much to it. I don't think we need Tony Adams either. I think we let him walk and just get maybe, hopefully, a comp pick out of that because he was a starting safety. 76 tackles. I think that's really all I'd like to do here. And then we take that right into free agency. Just thinking about where I'm at here on these two defensive linemen that we have, Will McDonald and Tyler Barron. I'd rather walk into free agency with a clean slate. I'm looking at this, and these guys are too small to play D-end. We're playing a true 3-4, so we need our nose tackle and D-ends to be massive. These guys aren't big enough to play on the front. If we move them to linebacker, I just don't think they are athletic enough to cover the ground, play in pass coverage. They're just not versatile enough, not athletic enough. So I think they're probably better off in a 4-3, just being undersized pass rushers in a 4-3. I think I'd rather just trade them. Will McDonald, Tyler Barron. Let's just see what we can get for them and just walk into free agency with an open front. They're in the 4th, move up into the 1st round with this one. I like that one the best thus far. Oh, move up into the 1st from a 3rd round pick and get a 6th. I like that a little more. Oh, give up a 7th and get a late 2nd and a 5th. Oh, next year, I like that even more. Detroit Lions. Washington and Cleveland. Let's just check these. Yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that Detroit deal. Giving up a 7th rounder to get a 2nd and a 5th back. We got Minnesota. 2 2nd rounders for Barron. Wow. From Minnesota, New Orleans. Oh, we can climb up into the 1st and get a 3rd back as well. Oh, that's interesting. 2 seconds. Ooh, give up a 4th for a 1st and a 3rd. Another 1st next year. We'll have 3 1st round picks next year. I'll take that from the Ravens. All right. So, We have no more defensive front. And then we have Tufele. It's 305. He's going to cost some money, though. He could play defensive end in this scheme, I think. But that's a hefty contract for where he's at. 298 for Cowart, and then he's going to cost a couple mil, and then Clemens is probably too light to play D end. He's a little more athletic than the other guys, but doesn't have the coverage skills. I think I'm good just walking into free agency with this, and we're just going to rebuild the defensive line. We got nobody on the books right now, and just got 154 mil. We got a ton of picks. Just throw a bunch of darts and stitch some things together on the front end, and then build around Jamie and Sherwood in the linebacker group, and put some secondary guys back on the books. Probably look to sign a left tackle and a running back in free agency on offense, and just sort of continue putting things together. I think this is the right move. And then we can go from there. So we'll take this into free agency. Now we're about to do something that I don't think I've ever really done in this game before. I've never had this much cap space in this game before. 115 mil after draft. That's exciting. All right, so let's really take a look here. I think we're going to take this position by position, and we're probably going to need one of everything. This is where we're at right now. So, excuse me. We're going to need a backup quarterback because Justin Fields, he just is, he's not going to play every game. So, and also that 56, does it hold up over time? I don't know. I think he's going to dip into the 40s. I think this is as good as he's going to get. So I think we need to have a backup plan. So let's start there. Let's look at quarterbacks. Yeah, Daniel Jones is out there at 19 mil. Gardner Minshew, classic, 8 mil. Daniel Jones is a pretty good athlete. Could he operate in a spread? Quality, decision making. Timing, sense the rush. Defense. So he's just not accurate at all. No arm strength. All right, so it's possible. He's a good enough athlete where yeah, it could work. Oh, Malik Willis is interesting. Trey Lance is interesting because these guys 4.5 is what Malik Willis ran. 4.5 is what Trey Lance ran. Those I think are actually the realistic one, and they're going to be a lot cheaper. I think that's where we want to get to. It's going to be one of them. Mariota, Malik Willis, and Trey Lance. So let's take a look at this real quick. Malik Willis has no arm strength. Read the defense is really good though. Good decision maker. Accurate. And Trey Lance, a bit more toolsy. Makes good decisions. The accuracy is not quite there. Whoops. I think I like Malik Willis though. The interesting move could be also is if we just end up signing both Malik Willis and Trey Lance and then just moving on from Fields. Because 20 mil? It's obviously not going to be as good as Fields, but I think they could both be good in a spread. Malik wants 2 years. They both want 2 years. I'm just going to sign them both. If all they want is 1 million, if I can get them both on the team for a couple of years, great backups, and I'd think about moving on. I would think about moving on from Fields if that happens. All right. Brazier. All right, so we running back. I think we got let's see what's out there for running back. J.K. Dobbins. What's this Bryant McCord thing going on here? Right now, it's basically just Brazier. And he's a speedy little thing, blitz pickup. So he's nice. We need Maybe a little power back type of thing in here. What's this guy, Bryant McCord? He's kind of the same thing, just like a speedy little third down back type of situation. Tyler Beatty down here is the other young one. He's a little bit stronger, but pretty good endurance. Could probably load him up with a bunch of carries and late free agency. All right, let's check out the receiver situation. All right, here's where it gets a little interesting. A lot of older guys in here. Oh, we got Mooney here. He's gonna be kind of we really do need an X right now. We have three flankers. Got some pretty good speed. Garrett Wilson, Irvin Charles, and then Arian Smith is more of a contested catch guy. We need an X receiver, somebody that can beat press. Oh, Nico Collins is sitting out here. Interesting. George Pickens. His defeat jammer score is only 1? Oh, come on. I feel like George could beat press like that. Come on. What's Nico looking like? Is this 0-2? Come on. Ain't no way. T is beating press. Noah Brown is crushing press. 30-year-old Noah Brown. This guy's an animal. My gosh. Chris Godwin coming off 1,216. Sheesh. 30-year-old Chris Godwin. He'd cost some money. I'd be a little nervous that he just drops off the face of the earth. At 30, Christian Kirk's 29. Wide receiver market's a little tough. T's a mentor, 27. T's got some speed. I feel like T could be decent. T could be a decent X. He's a mentor too. Yeah, I think we got to throw a couple options out there. I think T's going to be one of them. I like the idea of Mooney, but it's just duplicative with what we got with Garrett Wilson. And George is not really like that. Not in this game, at least. Nico's asking for crazy money. We already gave out crazy money to Garrett Wilson. David Bell still has a little potential down here. Huh? That could be an interesting little one just to see. Oh, he didn't really. He's got medical stuff going on. Torn knee cartilage last year. So he had some surgery on that, but overall in good health. I'd be willing to take a dive on David Bell and just see if that works out with 5 mil or so. I'm not sure I really want T. Higgins, honestly. I don't think T is really what we should be going for at receiver. Romeo Dobbs, he could play a little X. He'd be okay. I think we could stick him out at X. We'll find a little budget X receiver real quick, and I think we're going to draft somebody possibly at receiver. All right, and then center, we have guard. The line thing is interesting. So we've got 3 really nice pieces. We need a left guard. We could slide Vera Tucker over to left guard if we really need to. That's kind of a backup. And then we really do need a tackle. I think we really do need a left tackle in particular. I don't know if we're getting this. Let's see what the mocks are saying. This tackle Wilson Lock is going to go before we get a chance. So I think we're going to need to. We have another pick in here somewhere, don't we? Sorry, I thought we had 2 firsts. Luke Gadecki. He's a right tackle. Taylor. Deion Dawkins is sitting here, left tackle. He wants a 2-year contract. He's 31. That could be a nice little stopgap left tackle for us. He's 31. I'll try at Deion Dawkins and then maybe get back up to tackle here. Orlando Brown is 29. I actually like this a little bit better. Actually makes a little more sense. Scheme acquisition, yeah, Deion not really well for the scheme. It's kind of mostly, I think Juwan is actually a better option. Or not Juwan, Orlando Brown, a little bit better of an option, but I'm significant bruise. Knees are a little bit banged up, so it's definitely a little bit more of a budgety risk type of thing. So let's maybe look for another one here. Braxton Jones, Jonah Williams, right tackle, Cam, left tackle. Then we're getting down to 51 here. The best way to probably spend a ton of free agent money is to just check what the best available guys are first and see if you can get some real top of the line stuff. We got this 27-year-old guard sitting here. He seems like he'd be a decent fit for what we got going on at Ingram. And he's gonna cost like 10 mil a year. That seems like a nice way to bolster the line. I'll throw that out there. Benito Jones, 28-year-old. He's a nose tackle. 6'1", 316. Looks pretty strong. This is in, let's see, wants a winner, really good personality. This is probably somebody that we want in our locker room. He'd cost us 10 mil a year. We really do need something big guy to plug the middle. What's Malcolm Roach doing here? Another nose tackle. He's 290 though, a little bit smaller. Need somebody. If we're playing a true 3-4, we really need that. We're fitting gaps at left tackle. So we hope for Malcolm Roach, or we hope for Benito Jones. There's a couple safeties here. I'm not itching to bite at a safety right now. Isaiah Likely. Oh, that's interesting. He wants the big bucks. He's 25. It's a maybe. I'm not sure in a spread how necessary it is to bring in an Isaiah Likely. Probably could use a corner. Jaquan McMillan is sitting here. It seems like it'd be the right move, but he's a late free agent. Here's our guy, Brandon Stevens. Didn't we just trade him? Didn't we literally just trade this guy? Like, we just traded this guy and they cut him? That's hilarious. Traded from the Jets and then Tennessee released him 8 days later? What are they doing? That's crazy. Why would they do that? That seems absolutely nuts. And then Roger McCreary. He's 26. Maybe a late free agency thing to put some of those together. I would like to look at some other. We should be looking at the defensive front here. Tremaine Edmonds here. Middle linebacker. He'd be nice. He could play one of our inside linebacker positions. He's a really good athlete. Pretty versatile. And we already have a really strong run defender, so having another guy next to him, that would help even things out a little bit. We haven't looked at any defensive ends yet. 283. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Jeffrey Simmons, 300 pounds. That's the type of DN that we would be looking for here. He's 28. Oh, pretty strong personality too. I think he'd be great for the locker room. 10 sacks last year. I like the look of this. 28. Let's throw that out there. We got to rebuild this line a little bit. Odafe. My guy's 257. Can't be doing that. Logan Hall, 283. We need some big dogs. Montez Sweat. Nope. Max. He's a traditional 4-3. Bobby Brown. Holy moly. 324, this man. Run defender. A lot of strength. This guy wouldn't cost too much. Placed on IR and then released. So he's got a torn ligament and then a sprained elbow ligament. So he's like a little comeback story. I wouldn't mind. Just, why not? It's going to cost not a ton. He's 25 years old, Bobby Brown. We do need some outside linebacker help and some guys that can probably rush the passer. This is something interesting here. 253. He's 30. Jermaine Pratt, 245. Pretty good athlete. He's 29. might rely on my drafting of linebackers because that is one of my strong suits. Alex Highsmith, really good pass rush technique. He can cover a little bit. Highsmith, is this not too expensive? I can mess with that. Highsmith, there we go. Patrick Queen, Devin White. Oh, Michael Hoyt. 28. Rotator cuff. He got catch and release. He's pretty expensive though. I'd be cool with getting one. That's fine. All right, let's take a look at some secondary and just see. We'll wrap this up and see if we can lock some of these guys in. Kobe Bryant. It's crazy. I have all this money and I'm like scared to spend right now. All right, this guy's pretty young still, Alex Austin. But he's a late free agent. We probably could use at least one secondary guy in free agency here. I think Kobe Bryant would probably be a pretty good fit. He's just a crazy athlete. All right, we got a lot of money on the books here. We got to see what happens. Cleveland and Denver. All right, so we already lost David Bell and Benito Jones. Yep. So we need to go find a nose tackle. We have another X in Dobbs, but we should probably throw another line out to that. Oh, this is a big dog. Personality is weak, but 27 years old. He's 325, 6'5". Late free agent, though. 338. Whoa, Tonga. Only a few mil. I would see if this works. This could work for a couple of years. And then that's a little cheaper option. Here, 32. There's a DJ Davidson. It's pretty big. It's a pretty lofty contract, though, for 58 overall. 274. I'm not getting out of bed for less than 320 here. Oh, this is interesting. He's 22 years old. Is this a late free agent? No. Look at wide receiver, too. David Moore. Gabe Davis. That could be an interesting little X receiver option for us there. See if we can find a mentor, though. Not really, huh? Adam Thielen. Or Tyler Lockett. And, I'll throw a line out to Gabe Davis. It wouldn't be the worst thing. So Orlando Brown and Jeffrey Simmons. Lost them both. All right. So hey, another D end maybe and a tackle. We don't have another tackle. Braxton Jones wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I would do that. The rest of these guys are pretty old. Red flag. And then, oops, we need some big dog defensive ends. Oh, Bobby Brown we already have on our list. Tier Tart, Bilal Nichols, a fine start. We could go off that. All right, so who we get here? Ed Ingram. All right, that's a really good guard. Braxton Jones. That was the tackle we just put one out to. So we got our first free agent though, Ed Ingram, and we can move him over to left guard. Cool. So it would be nice to bring in a left tackle here because we're bringing Armand Membu along. So he's still not really there yet. It doesn't have to be anybody crazy. Yeah, a mentor would actually be good, even though I think we already have one in the room. And Cam Robinson, it's not really a scheme fit. We're getting into backups here. He's not on our team, but Max Mitchell is, and he's all right. So we already have a mentor anyway. All right, that's fine. We'll just go weak at tackle and hope Armand comes along. We still have 107 mil here. Ed Ingram, we already knew we got him. Withdrew over cap? What are you talking about? So we got Bobby Brown at the end. We got Ed Ingram. Withdrawn from the cap. Maybe I hit too many of those. Let's get Bilal Nichols back in there. Bobby Brown, nice. All right, so still waiting for some other chips to fall here. All right, Kyrus Tonga. We're building the D line here, and now we get Kobe Bryant. Nice. All right, cap's at 94 mil. We still got some big chips left on the table here. All right, Okafor, or oh, he wasn't one that we were. He was on our team previously. Romeo Dobbs went back to Green Bay. Gabe is still out there. Highsmith, and then so we still have a ton of cap space here that we are not using right now. 84 million. We've got 1, 2, 5, 13, 18 or 20 million that we're using right now. So we still got a lot of cap space to blow here. 60 mil. We could sign a couple of big players. And Kyle Pitts is sitting out here. It's a run blocker. We're not going to be running a ton. And Knox a pass block. He's pretty solid all around. It might just be a nice little... We need to spend some money. Let's just spend it on Knox. Let's see. What else could we hit here? Threw a little at Highsmith. We could probably use another outside linebacker. Probably use a corner. What's Cam Taylor Britt doing? He's how old? 26. It's a 4-year deal. It's not really a ton of money. I would throw that. All the rest of the big dogs are kind of gone though. So we're going to be stuck with a lot of money probably. I guess we could look at another outside linebacker. I don't know. We'll see where the rest, where some of these other guys happen to go to. Oh, wow. Do we just sign everybody? Yeah. Gabe, Knox, Highsmith, Lance, Malik Willis. All right, so now we're at 57. We still have 57 mil. This is what it's looking like right now. Could probably use a running back. We'll throw some money at a running back. See, room looks all right. Maybe a tackle too. Bunch of green here. Probably use a strong outside linebacker. So strong outside linebacker, left tackle, running back. Let's see. Leo Chenal. Pretty athletic. I would do that. Just a little plug. We need offensive tackles. You can grab a left tackle here. 32. Why not? Honestly, I'll throw one at Braden Smith too. How much is he gonna cost? A couple mil. Let's just see what we can get at left tackle there. It's not really a whole lot we're working with. And then running back could probably use a little bit of a banger. Montgomery could be good. He's got a little leadership. He's 28. Cool. We got those 4 guys too now. Now we're at 49 mil. I think that's solid. All right, so now this is what the roster looks like. We got a little quarterback competition. We don't really need to let go of Justin Fields yet. We can just leave him there with his 20 mil. And if he's still asking for this after that, we can move on to Malik or Trey and really do the budget thing. But we have the money right now to keep Justin Fields on the roster. There's no reason to get rid of him. Couple of running backs there. Knox at tight end. Gabe Davis. Tippmann and Ingram. The inside core of the line is nice. Armand Membu hopefully grows into something and could figure this mess out. Then just got some foundational building blocks in here, just like some startable guys to fill out the 3-4. And Cam Taylor Britt, Kobe Bryant, just a couple mid-20s secondary guys. All right, so that brings us to 5th year extension day. We do not have any. So here we go. It's time for the draft. So here we are post free agency. Thinking back on free agency real quick, I think a couple of things I wish I maybe did was spend a little bit more money, particularly like I pulled back a couple contracts for T. Higgins and Deion Dawkins, and I should have just left them out there and just paid that money because I'm not going to use the money elsewhere. I think it was just my first time going on a spending spree like that in free agency, and I didn't realize how much money I'd end up leaving on the table. So it was a little bit of a new experience, but I think worth carrying forward to any other situations like that where you end up doing that. All right, so we're in the draft prep stage, which I've normally skipped through. I think I just wanted to call out a couple of things that I normally do in this stage. And really, all it is just look at the draft board, take a look at some of the top prospects, and figure out what I'm going to do with my first pick. And also, that involves taking a look at the mocks. You can get a general idea of where who the top players are, because although you can look at draft grades, and that normally is a decent indicator, you might also miss out on some of the guys that are a little bit further down the draft board. In this case, I was looking at the mock and I saw Rashad Miller is being taken second overall in two of these by two of these publishers, and then he goes what 10th and 12th in the other ones. But the fact that he is up in the 2 range here tells me like, well, he's up. I was like, where is he? I don't even see him up here. So I just scrolled down and found him here. And we've got some pretty tight ranges on what his ability is going to be, and he looks like he's going to be an absolute beast for safety. And the personality stuff is fine. His medicals came out clean, and obviously we don't have any combine stuff on him, but his soul seismic score came out pretty strong, so he's a smart player. This is probably a really good pick. So what you can do is mark them by using your right click. So I marked Rashad Miller and I marked Jabari Marquis. I think I was thinking about trading down because this draft isn't really that loaded, but I think whatever player gets taken second, I'll probably just end up taking the other guy. So whether Jabari falls, I'll end up taking him. He's actually fit for 4. Really strong across the board. Like you can just see his run defense, pass rush stuff is all high level, really smart. Soul Seismic wasn't super strong, but like, you don't have to be incredibly smart to be on the front. Just be a big body. He's 306. We'll put him at D end. We really do need a premier pass rusher, and I don't know how often we're going to get a chance to pick in the top 5s. I kind of hope he's the one that falls. But if not, I'm definitely willing to take Rashad Miller, who looks like a game changer at safety. So I think either way, we're going to get a good player here. I thought about Sean Montalvo for a minute because I really do have a thing for there's always one of these linebackers that's just an absolute freak athlete. I think it would fit really well, even though he's listed as a 4-3 weak linebacker. I think we'd find a spot for him somewhere. He's just too good of an athlete. And he's got all the tools. We could probably stick him at outside linebacker because he can rush the passer really well. And he could just play edge for us and drop back into coverage at times and just do everything. So I think he'd be really good as well. So I'm fine with either of those 3 players. I might even end up taking Sean over Rashad Miller just because if he's going to play edge, I think he can rush the passer. We can put him in a position where he can rush the passer quite a bit, and just that athletic ability is going to be really, it's too enticing not to take that. His 10-yard dash wasn't crazy, but just shuttle in the 3 cone. He's obviously got crazy quickness to put up 43 reps, and he runs a 4.3. That's just ridiculous stuff. So probably take one of these 2 because we need some front 7 help. So I think that's where I'm landing for round 1. So that's kind of what I do in the draft prep stage. We pick 3 times in the 2nd round, twice in the 3rd, 4th, 2 5ths, and a 7th. So we got a lot of picks coming up, and we need all of them. We need every single one of them. So I'm probably not going to trade up. Probably won't trade back. I'll probably just stay at home and pick every pick here. So let's get right to it. So looks like the quarterback went Ben Rodgers. So we have our choice between Jabari and Sean. Man, I talked myself into Sean a little bit. But I'm just going to stay at home here and take very high leadership, strong personality. Like that just makes the tiebreaker for Jabari. The arms are a little short though, but he's more of a stuffer in a 3-4 scheme, so that doesn't really matter as much. The hand size a little small, 6'2", 306. You'd hope for some bigger hands, but I think Jabari will be just fine. All right, here we are at our next pick. Kirk Garcia. I actually seen his name thrown around a couple of times early in that first round. So he's one that I'm definitely eyeing. The ranges are a little bit all over the place. Our scouting isn't as good offensively, but he seems like a really good character. The elbows are a little bit of a risk, but and then he's got some the physicals measurables look absolutely fantastic for him. He's massive, long arms, big hands, 6, and he's got elite quickness and strength. It looks like his bench press came out really strong. He's not dumb. His soul sismic came out pretty well. He's got a decent 10-yard dash in the vertical and broad jumper there. Not bad. So everything tested out pretty well. It's just we do need an answer at left tackle, so that's one that I'll be considering. We have Harvey Garzon as well, so he's okay. I'm going to mark Kirk Garcia here. I think that might be who I go with here and just roll the dice on him. I also really like what DeAnthony Harvey is looking like here. Again, another 4-3 weak linebacker. But could play inside. Maybe if we just beef him up a little bit, he can be an inside weak linebacker or something like that. But the combine stuff looks really good. He's really smart, which is key for a linebacker as well. Just the medicals are a little bit of a risk, you can tell there. So he's going to end up being a little bit of a risk because of that. Luke McNamara didn't show up to the combine, but not an incredibly bright player, but a pretty good personality. I could see us taking him with one of our second rounders for sure. I think I like Kirk Garcia too much he's got the prototypical build and really quick. So I just feel like he's on paper, he looks like he could really end up on the high end of those ranges at some point. And maybe he's not a scheme fit, but we need a left tackle. And I wonder if just switching him over to left tackle to start and just seeing how he develops, maybe he could be a thing. So we really need some tackle play desperately, so for the long term. So I think Kirk Garcia is what I'm going to go with here. All right, back on the clock here at 2:15, roughly 10 picks later. And Luke McNamara is still sitting here. I haven't really looked into much else, but he seems like a really good character. Not the brightest, but plays the run and is a pass rusher. So I'm not really a little bit of a risk with the knees, but I'm just going to take the dive and go for it with Luke McNamara. This is who Vernon Lee. He's got some wide ranges again because our offensive scouting isn't strong, but he could be really good. This seems like a nice little stab at some point. And he's really smart too. Bit smaller, but heavier. Very weak personality, but high leadership. Something to consider. Maybe a little dart later on. I think I'm going to really keep the focus on building out the trenches, and Luke McNamara to me makes the most sense right now, just given the profile. And back up 10 picks later, 25 here. All right, I did want to get Dean Burner. I'm kind of curious what he ended up, because he was hanging around up there for a minute. He was our highest graded player for a while, and a nose tackle at that. Oh, he's pretty good, 51-68. Just really good run defender. I kind of wish I grabbed him, but I was going to grab him with this pick. But there is another nose tackle down here who's got some slight medical risks. Another run stuffer. Big dog, 6'4", 320. He's pretty quick and a good vert. Not very fast, but that at least shows some. He's got some general foot speed and strength. Not really there though. Only 27 reps he put up. So he's mostly a quicker guy. That's interesting. A lot of corners have floated up to the top here, so I might just take a look at some of these. There's also Ricardo Gibson here, which is interesting. He is really strong run defense and pass rusher. He seems to have the quickness. His shuttle time is really strong. His short arms. He does have some short arms, but I'm thinking he's already 287. If he could possibly put some weight on, we could push him to more of a 3-4 D end where arm length not as much of an issue and he'd be coming in at a decent size. This is one I'll put a pin in. Not in love with the corners that have floated up to the top here. They all look pretty slow. Jameson Lands. Again, I'm falling in love with the measurables here. Big hands, long arms, tall guy. 326 he's weighing in at. And all of his ranges, he seems like he's going to be a good fit in the scheme. And if his ranges end up in the right place, the blocking strength is probably going to be on the lower end because he only put up 24 reps. But the verts, he's got some decent leg strength, decent quickness. Does he make out to maybe be a decent left tackle or at least a backup? Maybe. Do we want to be taking that in the late second round? Maybe not. So I think just given that we're in the late second round, I'm still drawn to Ricardo Gibson here. He's a little light for a 3-4 D end, but I think at the very least we can maybe push some weight on him, or he could just come in a little lighter at 287. And he's got the skills. I think he can. He's super quick. I really like where the it looks like he's ready to play some good ball. So I think I'm going to go with Gibson here. All right, back up again at 3-3. Brendan Capehart is still here. Bunch of left tackles here with short arms, except for this one, Marquez Bennett. I think I like where the measurables all line up here. He's got 34-inch arms. That's what we like to see. Big hands. Tall. Well, he's 6'4", but that's... And the combine stuff, he's not really like an athletic specimen, but a decent guy. And his technique looks pretty strong, or could be. Not a great scheme fit. The blocking strength, he's low on reps here, but could he be a decent left tackle? Possibly. Lester Ajayi is really interesting here. 6'1". Hands and arms, decent size. He's 208. But really crushed the 3-cone, 6.6. Also crushed the reps and ran a 4.3. Decent vert. Explosiveness not really there. Not a smart guy necessarily. And some medical risks for sure, but he seems like a really good personality. And the ranges are all pretty much all maxed out except for his route running. And they're wide ranges. But here we are in the early third round and interested in taking a swing on this and just seeing how it goes. Everything checks out to me here. I can tell myself a story. So I think I'm going to hit the button on Ajayi here. And now a few picks later here. All right, so my staff directed my attention to Bucky Spruill here, who's runs a 4.7, blazing fast guard. The vert and broad jump are there. So he's got some pipes for legs. Ranges look pretty good on all the blocking traits. The scheme fit, not really there. Possibly nice is like, I think we can get him later than this, so I'm going to wait on it. Corey Mock down here, 5'10", 227, runs a 4.5. The combine stuff doesn't really jump out at me at all. He's got some back stuff that he's working through, but seems like a pretty good personality. It's the ranges here that catch me. And speed, strength, hole recognition. He could look really good on paper here, but the ranges are really wide. I might put a pin in it and come back later if he's still there in a couple rounds from now. So I think here in the mid third is where, what am I really looking at? I got Brendan Capehart here, who's a nose tackle, pretty good run defender, pretty quick, but his reps were low, so he's not the strongest. His pass rush strength reflects that. Probably ends up backup nose tackle for us, but a pretty good guy to have in the locker room. He's got some health risks though, elbows, ankles, and feet. And then Marquez Bennett, who looks like a pretty decent personality, no medical issues, nothing crazy on the combine profile, but a left tackle that has all the, the prototypical build here. And his technique looks like it could end up being pretty strong. I might just throw a dart on Marquez Barnett here. I'm looking one last look up and down the board here. Let's look at maybe Will Barnett. Really smart, fast corner. Looks pretty athletic. It's not really a man-to-man cover guy. Can play some zone. And Will maybe for another time. I think I'm gonna take a try at Marquez Barnett here. Our second attempt at grabbing another left tackle. All right, so here we are. Day 3, kicking it off here. Third pick in the 4th round. I am curious. I want to see what Brendan Capehart ended up. So he had some potential for sure. All right. I do probably want to leave this draft with a nose tackle at some point, but I think we've been stacking some pretty good talent, I think. Here's another decent D end. All the combine stuff looks good. Arms are short for sure. High leadership, strong personality. 297. This looks like a pretty safe pick. I'll put a pin in that at some point. If he's still sitting there, I might just grab just for some depth. It's a decent corner here, Sebastian. Slower though. Didn't really clock well on the shuttle, the 10-yard, or the 40. I do still like Will Barnett. He's a really smart player. Can play some zone. Not really a very strong man-to-man cover guy, but he can defend the run too. So I think here in the 4th round, I don't mind taking a corner like this. Pretty good athletic profile. Some medical risks, but a strong personality, and he's bigger too. He's 6'2", some shorter arms, but 210. Some extra corner depth doesn't hurt anybody. All right, now we're here in the 5th round, and I think our short list is gone. So now we're back to square one here. Obviously skipping out on quarterbacks due to our challenge. Here's another. The shuttle doesn't look great here for Chris Gilmore. But this is a pure cover guy. Man-to-man and zone scores look pretty good. Endurance is decent. This whole Sismic was okay and doesn't really look like his defensive diagnosis is really bad. Maybe that's something that can grow a little bit given the Soul Sismic, because it's not terrible. It's a really good athlete though for the most part. I don't know what happened with the shuttle. Might give him a try though. His 10-yard dash looks really good, so he's got some explosiveness to him. This is looking pretty good. Neil Sauer, so he's 5'9", but his arms are a little bit longer. Decent athlete across the board. Pretty good character. I like Neil as well. Shannon Mata. Could be interesting. He's 5'9", 224, running back. The ranges are all over the place. I don't know what I'm going to get with this. There are no combine scores to go with it. Elbows. But it's possible that could be a nice option. Our staff wants us to go guard here. I might just check that real quick. Nathan Woodling right here. A good scheme fit. The blocking strength, not quite there. He had 26 reps though. He could end up on the better end of some of those. Short arms, red flag character though. Maybe not then. Not a big red flag guy. I haven't really taken a running back yet. I might wait on that one though, just to see. I'm gonna maybe take Chris Gilmore here, just because I think the athleticism is a little enticing. We're back up again. I think I'm gonna double down on corner here and go for this guy because I just really like the Neil Sauer. I really like. He seems like a decent run defender. Man and zone scores are really high, so he looks like a pure cover guy. The athletic stuff, there's nothing that really scares me. And he's pretty smart too. Defensive diagnosis, all that stuff looks pretty good. A couple of medical risks, but a really good character. So I really like Neil Sauer here as well. Now, all the way to the 7th round, Shannon Mata still sitting here, so we made the right decision. I think I'm just going to stick there and grab him. And that's it. Let's see what we got here. This on paper, this looks pretty decent right now. So Jabari Marquis looks like he's going to be a stud on the front for us right away. We'll move him to D end. Then we took Kirk Garcia with our 2nd round pick. A little bit of a risk. He could end up being a decent starter, but he's not there right now. So a little disappointed in that one. And that's part of the risk of taking an offensive player when you don't have the best offensive scouts. But we did follow that up with Marquez Bennett in the 3rd round at the end of the 3rd, and really just took him off of measurables. And he looks like he could be a really solid left tackle. So I'm happy with that one. Back to the 2nd round here, we went back-to-back DNs and got some decent depth here with guys that could end up being pretty solid starters in Ricardo Gibson and Luke McNamara. Also took a receiver in the 3rd round who looks like he's pretty decent X receiver with some potential to be a really strong X receiver. He's just not a good route runner, so pretty much can do anything else but run routes. So he's going to have a limited tree, but and then moving on to the 4th round through the 4th and 2 of our 5th round picks, we took corners. So some decent depth. These guys are some solid backups that could end up being decent starters or depth guys at some point. So I think all of those guys are going to be great to have, and maybe Will Barnett moves out to safety or something like that if we need to, because he's around 210. He's a little bit bigger. And then Shannon Mata, little dart on a 7th round running back. Glad we didn't take him earlier. He looks like he's going to be okay. Whoops. He'll be okay, but doesn't have the whole recognition. More of just a really good athlete. And that's probably, he probably just ends up being a backup or something. All right, cool. I'm pretty happy with this draft. I think we made the right choice at 3 and could end up with some decent starters throughout most of the rest of the draft, at least some good depth guys. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. I think the only real rough one was Kirk Garcia, top of the 2nd round, pick 35. You hope for somebody that's, especially on a team like ours, maybe ready to go week 1, and he won't be that. So he's already behind the 8 ball. I might just throw him at left tackle and see if he develops into something a little bit stronger. Let's see what that would look like if we were to move him to left tackle. Can make this change with the player retaining about 93% of his rating. So he's going to drop a little bit. Roughly the same experience, and he'd be a little bit heavy for left tackle, but yeah, it seems like he has a little more experience at right tackle right now. So maybe we just keep him at right and see what Marquez Bennett can turn into. I don't know. But I think overall this is a pretty solid draft. I'm happy with it. So we're here in the late free agency window. Looking at just our situation right now, we've got about 50 players on the roster and about 50 million in space. I'll probably be a little bit loose with it and try to bring in maybe a couple dart throws somewhere. Running back, receiver, possibly. But depending what's there, yeah, maybe a left tackle. Pretty tight on tackle right now. It's looking We might have to flip. Anyways, we have a lot of tackles, but they're all not very good. Probably adding some linebacker depth. Maybe a safety. And then taking some shots on some undrafted free agents and just seeing what we can come up with. Oh, the other thing is I don't have a fullback, I don't have a kicker, and I don't have a long snapper. So that'll be the other. This will be the other things that we'll take a look at. Here's a fullback right here, Oscar Cano. And just looking at the offense that Tanner ran last year, we did run a decent amount of 21 personnel, even 22 personnel. So even though it's a spread offense, he doesn't mind getting a little big. Obviously, most of our offense, about 50% of it was out of 11. So we were putting 3 receivers on the field. But I just seeing that we ran about 20% with 2 running backs out there and 17% or 18% with 2 or more tight ends out there just tells me that we didn't have any good running backs last year or a good fullback. We did not have a strong tight end group. Our receiver group was decent. We really lacked skill players pretty much across the board. But just saying, I think Tanner at least tells me Tanner maybe wanted to do a little bit more with some of that. Maybe we just throw Kate Otten in there and see. He's a mentor to tight ends. Be a good guy. Let's see how much Tanner wants to put tight ends on the field. We need a 3rd tight end anyway, so let's just make it a strong one. A nose tackle sitting here, James Lynch. He's a little bit lighter. Looks like he is recovered. A very serious torn ankle ligament in December. So I don't know if he's going to be ready week 1, but throw a couple million at that and just see. Maybe he starts the year on the bench. We have a couple long snappers here that are rookies. I'm willing to throw contracts at both of them and just see whichever one makes the most sense. John Parker Romo here at kicker. Sure. Jeremy Clark also. Pretty good kickoff guy. So we got our special teams, fullback, tight end stuff figured out, and we threw a dart on a nose tackle. Let's see what we can get in the bargain bin and see if there are any undrafted free agents with potential here. There's a running back, Hunter Zeus, corner, or another running back. Looks like a pretty good early down guy. Personality is very weak though. I don't really think there's going to be any stick to that. Devontae, sure. Nose tackle here. Really good endurance. It could turn into a 52. Sure, we'll take a look at it. Quarterback. Not really a great athlete. A decent decision maker, accuracy, and the arm stuff looks good, but not really smart enough to read the defense. I don't know if this one's going to work with us there. Another running back. Go back to the main screen here with our drafted rookies here. A couple corners down here. I'm willing to give both of these guys a shot. Not really many linebackers, but here's an inside backer. Here's an outside backer. This guy's a pretty good athlete. The throw quality stuff looks terrible, but he's a decent decision maker and can read the defense. He could end up being a pretty solid backup in a spread, or he's a 50 potential there. So I'll take a look at that. There's a receiver, just runs routes and beats press. Interesting profile there. Tough, but the center might actually be a little bit better than the backup we got now. This guy's got a lot of potential. He probably ends up getting cut, but I'll throw one at him. All right. So we got the kicker, corner, D tackle, Cade Otton, and that quarterback, Joseph Moser. Oh, James Lynch was the one that. So Zeus and the fullback did not get taken. So we got to maybe go find a fullback. Got a corner though. Got outside backer. So we maybe want to look at grabbing another fullback. Dakota could end up having a really good hole recognition. More interested in a blocker here. Bruce has 0 run blocking. Is that all we got here? Reggie Gilliam's out here. Really strong, really good blocker. He looks like he's going to be a really safe floor fullback. I'm taking all these former Bills. What does that say? Oops. We got long snapper, corner, and inside linebacker. Oh, no. We did not get the corner. We did not get the inside backer. Well, there's a couple safeties down here. I think we're going to have a lot of corners that we could probably shift over. I'll take a look at this tight end and see if he can beat out Mason Taylor for our third tight end. I think we need a fourth guard anyway, so I might just throw this out there. These are the other linebackers out here. Not much. It wasn't a very linebacker heavy draft. It looks like a pretty good athlete, actually. 19 to a 38. Goodness. Whatever. Probably won't be on the team very long, but we can try that out. All right, we got everybody else. Quickly shot up to 65 on the roster. Probably need someone to move to a safety here, but we can make that happen. Linebacker. Oh, Cade is hurt. I didn't realize Cade was hurt. He's got 3 weeks left to get back. A couple injuries coming into camp. All right. I have only 5 receivers. I wouldn't mind grabbing another one because we are running a spread. We're playing a lot of 3 receiver sets. Just good to have that extra. Luke Grimm down here. He's fast. Just an extra flanker to have on deck. See what that looks like. Anything at running back that's interesting? A couple rookies that look like they're ready to start right now. And Terrence here. But there we go. Oh, did we not get our boy at receiver? Here we go. Come on. Mitchell Tinsley, same thing. Could at least be a good special teamer to have on. They got him at split end. I'd probably still switch him to flanker. It's not beating press. All right, cool. I think that's pretty good. We can take this into weight training. All right, you guys know this is one of my favorite times. Weight training here. We got a long list, but we'll move some positions around. We'll see what's happening. Everybody's looking good here. Quarterbacks. Montgomery can gain weight, but he's probably locked into what he's doing here. Let's pick him in route running. I don't want to put more weight on Terrence. Elusiveness is the biggest to gain here for Hardy Frazier. His strength is locked in at 8. Secure the ball is also another big one for him. I think I might just have him drop a little weight and see if he can get a little quicker. Shannon, most to gain. Secure the ball and blitz pickup. That's mental than anything. I don't think I want to put any weight on Shannon. Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis are as good as toast at this point. Tight end, Otten, I don't think he's really got much to. Mason Taylor, traffic. Secure the ball, pass block techniques, but not strength. Could probably just leave him where he's at. Blocking technique, secure the ball, route running, catching traffic. The catching traffic one is the one that's maybe a little bit stronger. Probably could catch in traffic a little better. And maybe secure the ball. He's not really a speed guy. Sure. Let's have, oh, he can't even gain weight. But we could put some weight on Mason Taylor. That's fine. Receiver room. Irvin Charles can put on weight. Is that going to do anything for him? Not really. He's more of a speed guy. Gabe. Arian Smith can lose weight. Lester can put weight on. 6'1", 195 was he? catching traffic. Kind of a speed guy. He's already 208. I don't think he needs to put more on. I think he's good where he's at. Mitchell Tinsley, speed guy. Could have him drop weight. He doesn't need any of the strength stuff anyway, I don't think. We'll mess around with it. All right, so I think it might be best to move one of these guys to right tackle off rip. It's probably going to be Braden Smith just because of the blocking strength. Andrus has none of that. He's more of a tech guy. He's got some shorter arms, but they both do. It just looks like Andrus moves a little bit better, or at least did. I don't know what he's moving at 32, but I think we'll probably look at Braden Smith at right tackle. Just to even that out a little bit. And these guys will start the year, and hopefully Membu comes along. Maybe one of these guys, Garcia or Barnett, comes along. Olu. This is where things get a little bit interesting. We talked about Jabari when we drafted him. He was going to be a better fit for a DN position, but if we do throw some weight on him, what could he end up getting close to that? And what would he's already maxed out on strength. I don't think gaining weight is going to do anything for his game. He's probably just better off at a DN spot. It looks like left end is where his weight's about average. Whoops. 62.79 to a 63.80. Nice. So he is a better fit there. That's going to be great. So we can have him chill there. Hopefully James Lynch is healthy enough. He's 295. So he's going to be better off at a DN spot as well. Bobby Brown's sitting here at 324, and I'm just like, could this guy just shift over to nose tackle? Probably a better fit there anyway. He's a 58 to a 64. Oh, beautiful. That's a great switch. All right, so now we got Bobby and Tonga here. Two big boys. Tonga's at 338. Would it help to help him lose weight a little bit? No, he's got some pretty good endurance. I don't think that's going to do anything for him. Munguia. I think this is an undrafted guy. And then we can probably shift over to the end as well. He's a bit lighter. Below and about and above. We'll go with this 66 here to a 69. Nice. So he's actually better fit there. So we got Lynch and Jabari up front with Bobby Brown. This defensive line actually flipped this thing around. It looks pretty good right now. If it stays like this. And then Munguia. He's going to be better off at left end or right end. Right end. So 33 and 50 to a 32 and 50. That's fine. And then as far as weight stuff goes, got a lot of rookies here. Jabari, I think we talked about it. He's fine staying at his current weight. Luke is at 291 right now. A bit lighter. I think if we can have him bulk up a little bit, have Ricardo bulk up a little bit. These guys are both a little bit lighter. That's what we talked about with Ricardo when we drafted him. Both guys hovered around 290. I think we wouldn't mind seeing them get up over 295. Devontae, wouldn't mind him to even gain a little bit, but that's fine. He's fine where he's at. And then our nose tackle stay put. I really like the defensive line right now. Linebackers are all over the place here. We only have one guy that looks like he's a nice fit as a 3-4 inside linebacker, and that's Alex Highsmith. So we have one that's the only two that are really meant for a 3-4 as well. So our linebacker stuff is all over the place. It's fine. It should be fine. Let's get McMichael, who looks like he's meant to be more of a 3-4 weak linebacker. We'll move him to that. Looks like that sort of makes sense. 1936 to 2038. That got a little better. He's strong, weak. Clayton Highsmith is meant to be in a 3-4 inside spot. Let's see what that looks like. Strong inside. He's okay. Weak inside seems like the spot for him. Down to a 57. Fine. But at least that's what his body's fit for. Sherwood looks really light. I don't mind having Jaden bulk up a little bit. 233 when we want him to be 260. So Tremaine looks like the one. He's a lot bigger, and we can move him to an outside backer spot. It's gonna be taller, but it's fine. It's a little bit rangier. 61 out there, nice. So that's a good flip too. We probably just want to have him bulk up anyway. No, we maybe want to flip him to weak outside. No, he's gonna be significantly below. All right, that's fine. We can let them work it out. Tremaine maybe ends up bulking up and he ends up playing weak. That's fine. We probably do need one to flip back inside, and I'm thinking it's gonna be Francisco here. It seems to make a little bit more sense to play inside. He's a 48. Nice. So that he bumped up 3. There'll be some decent depth. It's just lighter. Outside guys are playing edge, so they have him play around 260. They're all kind of light. We got some misfits at linebacker, so that'll be a future thing that we'll have to figure out. But we got guys that can play in there, and that'll be fine. Corner, it's kind of a who's who after Taylor, Britt, and Brownlee. So Will Burnett here, 210 he's coming in at. Not really a man-to-man defender either, so I think it makes a lot of sense to have him move to safety. Where he is a little bit more fit size-wise. What are we looking at safety here? We've got Kobe, who's playing free. So let's move Will to strong. He moves up to a 40, 57, nice. So you're going to expect that with most corners, that they get better at safety, as long as they have the size there. So that looks nice. Malachi, a little bit lighter, but 203 for Quantez as well. Got a lot of corners here, and Quantez can actually gain some weight. Can have him bulk up. Interesting profile. But maybe we just have him play a little safety as well. Although it looks like he'd be better fit to play left corner. Height is about average. A little bit short to play safety. I don't know what switching sides on the corner thing even really does. He's 203. If he bulks up, he might be able to play some safety still, though. We have a 5'11 right here in Malachi. Let's bulk him up, switch him to safety, and just see if he can do a little bit more there. 25-32. So he didn't get better, but let's just see if the bulk up helps. Most of the other guys, I think I'll keep them where they're at. And then we hope Gibson and Neil Sauer develop into some guys, and we should have some decent depth at corner. Looks like that should go well. Nice young group. Great. This looks pretty good. Here we go. First roster cut down. Brady Cook's probably going to go here. Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. Running backs of the last regime. What's up with Cade? Oh, Cade really fell off. He's now a 30. Oof. His injury's not doing him well. What do we end up paying him? What are you gonna do? Mason Taylor took a step forward, though. Good to see. The competition did him some good. Maybe we keep Cade just to continue mentoring him, and Daryl we probably just say goodbye to. Lester coming along. Receiver room looks fine. Center. Oh, here we go. Armand Membo stepping up. Love to see it. Kirk stepping up. Marquez stepping up. All right, tackles. We got tackles on the rise. Olu even stepping up. No tackles that I'm itching to get rid of quite yet. Frederick Keener. Probably a quick drop here. He's still in the teens, so I don't think he's quite ready. 21 is decent. Where that's at. James, still out about 3 weeks. But he's still looking good. Jabari, Bilal, Luke, Ricardo. These guys coming along nicely. Guys on the front. Bobby and Tonga. Nice. Nothing crazy with the linebackers. It's like some step forward. Corner room stepping up. Salvador, Neil, both. Chris. Will Burnett stepping up. Gonna be starting at free safety. Nice. This is looking pretty good. We probably let this long snapper go. We already have one above him. And then we just need one more axe here. Probably Quantez Stiggers. A little bit of cap control on him, but it's fine. All right, so here we are getting ready to step into week 1. We need 7 more cuts, and then we need to figure out who the inactives are. Lester kind of fell off. Kate Otten looks ready to go. Reggie, what's going on with Reggie? Oh, he's looking doubtful. Not great, but full strength in 5 weeks. I might just tag him with IR. Shannon out for 5 weeks as well. I'll just tag him with IR too, just to get a little bit more exam on him. Paul, he's not really looking like, still could be pretty solid, but we have 3 quarterbacks right now, so I don't really. Sticking with Malik and Trey Lance as the backups. Still holding strong at 56. Justin Fields. Mambu is going to start. Andrews, probably get rid of him. That's fine. Olu actually kind of dropped a little bit, didn't he? But has a little bit more potential also at the same time. Interesting. Kirk. Marquez. I don't know what to do with the rest of my tackles here. I probably let Max Mitchell go and just eat that cap. I probably could have traded him too, but whatever. Well, and then we have a lot of young tackles here, so I probably just keep Braden Smith and. Oh, what I didn't do is keep a mentor in here. That would have been smart too. But only got so much space. We got 3 rookies in here. Or I'm considering Membu a rookie, but he's a 2nd-year guy. And Fashanu, yeah, too many young tackles. And then we wanted to keep Braden, who's the best veteran. Too bad he's just not a mentor. Defensive line. Mungia didn't really work out. That's fine. We can. He's just an undrafted guy. We can let him go. We only just need 1 more cut. Stephen McMichael, but we have a lot of linebacker injuries right now. What's up with Bobby Brown? He's probable. James Lynch, torn ankle. Oh, he was that guy. He's probable, but he's just tired. So he's probably not playing week 1. Jaden Nielsen, 4 weeks. Questionable for Francisco. And Will turned into a nice little starting safety here with some upside. There's not really a lot that I'm like itching to get rid of defensively. Bilal will be a nice little piece at the end, especially with James not quite ready. It's probably just Heath Poss. We'll just run with 3 guards. It's not quite there. All right, cool. And then when Shannon comes back, I think we likely end up cutting him the way it's looking. We keep Terrence Portnoy. Well, he was our 7th rounder though, Shannon. So maybe we just keep him on IR. When Reggie comes back, maybe we ditch Mitchell Tinsley, but I don't know. It's kind of nice to have the extra receivers. I wanted to switch him to flanker. He's got a little more experience, a slight experience reduction at the new position in 39. He's going to go down to a 36. That's fine. Where's the cut once we get Reggie Gilliam back? I think we could end up just cutting Danny Gans potentially. It's not really anything crazy. That's probably where it's at. So we're pretty much ready to go. We got our inactives all set. A couple guys on IR, but let's start moving through the season. And we'll start with our first game against New England. We lost to New England. Moving on to Giants week 2. All right, we got the win against New York. Nice. Looks like our defense is maybe having some growing pains to start, but offense is cooking right now. Malik Willis, torn MCL. So let's go ahead and put him on IR and add a quarterback. All right, at least with George, he likes to run. He's really athletic, and we're running a spread. He can just take the open lanes wherever they are. I think we'll go ahead and just add George here. Looks like Meta is doubtful, and Olu Fashanu is questionable. So I'm gonna inactivate Olu and bring Marquez Bennett, I guess, into the fold here. And then Shannon, let's go ahead and, I guess, do I have him on IR already? Oh, he was one of the guys we put on IR. I think the rest is probably fine. Oh, we got the win against the Rams. All right, 2-1. Lester Ajayi is questionable. All right, so our IR guys are looking to come back pretty soon. I'm not really excited to bring Shannon back necessarily. Gilliam, I might just keep both of them on IR. I really don't want to. There's nobody that I want to cut right now, so I don't think it's important enough to bring either of them back at the moment. I think we'll keep it rolling. Let's get just want to make sure we're loaded up on special teams here. Whoops, I meant here. Not really good special teams or Stefan is though. So we may want to keep Stefan around for special teams. What's Azir? Not really much special teams ability. We can probably bring Stefan back into the fold. All right, cool. Want to keep a little bit of an eye on special teams just to make sure that we're doing that well enough. All right, and then Lester's the only other one that I was like, eh. I'm just going to keep him active. I don't think if he ends up playing. Nice, another win against Jacksonville, 3-1. Moving along. Still nothing to really deal with here. I just fast forwarded way too far. All right, so we lost to Houston and then beat Carolina. That's fine. Trade deadline still coming up. Let's keep an eye on that. We got a lot of receiver injuries. And Garrett Wilson, doubtful. I'll probably deactivate Wilson. And then maybe get Olu back in the fold here. That looks fine. Chris Gilmore, torn LCL, so he's cooked. And I think we have enough corner play where I feel okay to just next man up this thing. Will Burnett's developing down here. That's looking good. I think Jabari Marquise, huge draft pick. He's turned into a stud. He's got 3.5 sacks, but that's looking good. Armand's coming along slowly. How's Garrett Wilson looking? Still doubtful. I think with that corner out, I might just bring Reggie Gilliam back and see if we can jumpstart the run game a little bit. Cool. And we will... Leo Chenal is questionable. Might let Leo get some rest. And where things are at right now, we got the trade deadline coming up. Looks like our pass defense is a little bit weak, but maybe that's because we have some leads. Overall, we're like a top half of the league team right now, it seems like. 4-3. So I'm not really itching to go trade for something. I don't think we're like a piece away. One thing I do want to look at though is what contracts we have coming up. 7. So we got just Justin Fields, which he still wants a boatload of money. Not sure if I'm going to be willing to commit to that quite yet, although he is having a pretty strong year thus far, it looks like. A stronger year than last year for sure. What's his rushing totals looking like? 6 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns on the ground. Wow. He's having a pretty good year. Salvador Gibson, our undrafted rookie, and we can't sign undrafted rookies quite yet. he's turning out to be a pretty solid sign. This is an undrafted rookie, dang. And he could end up being a 62, so he's already, like, that's a W. Kicker Jeremy Clark, and a lot of the rest of these are just whatever contracts. So I guess the question is, do we trade Justin Fields? Are we going to win anything with him? Because I'm not sure. Do we just dive right into the Trey Lance zone? You know, he's in 18 attempts. He's played pretty well. We're 4-3 right now. The only other thing at play here is our team chemistry. So they got us as a decent team right now. Rosters pretty decent. Our cohesion's quite a bit behind still. We got a lot of new pieces that we're working in, so we're bottom 5 in chemistry. No one's interested in Fields anyway, so I guess it's not even worth the thought experiment. But that is something that we're 4-3. I feel like it might be best to just gain the momentum anyway, and just we'll take a look at that in the offseason, I suppose. Now that we're at the trade deadline, let's just check one last time and see if you have no interest for Fields. All right, cool. So let's just get to New England here. We're on to New England. Garrett Wilson's questionable. I'll probably just open up his window here. Not that he's on IR, but we're still preparing for Marquez Bennett at starting left tackle. I'll probably just sit Olu one more game here. We got clubbed by New England. All right, a lot of guys coming off the injury report. We do have Cam Taylor-Britt listed as doubtful. I'll probably switch that out, and then the rest looks fine. Olu looks like he's healthy and back. So let's put Marquez back on inactive and see what happens in Tennessee. W. Cam Taylor-Britt is back to probable. I'm going to see if I can get him active and put Danny back on the bench. Lost to Buffalo by 3. All right, looks like Fields is questionable. Got the loss to Miami. We're 5-6. Got some probables here. We'll probably just let this play out. Edged one out against Washington. Gilliam again. What happened to Gilliam? Wrist tendon tear. 8 weeks. He's going back on IR. So that's going to open up a spot where we could probably use another D lineman with Tonga out. I guess Tonga's probable, but I guess we'll keep that open for now. Tough loss to Pittsburgh. Ingram's questionable. Could probably use another extra lineman out here. Well, James Lynch is hurt too. Those guys are probable, but I think we'll just keep the current flow. After Philly, another tough loss to Philly. Things kind of shaking out here. We're total yards 18th and 14th, so the points aren't really shaking out in our favor, but we're definitely like a mid team. We're average. We're about what we should be. I wonder if Fields has been playing the last couple games. We got the win against Buffalo. Who played in this? Trey Lance has been playing. That's the thing with Fields is like, he's not going to stay healthy. No new injuries or anything. We're just going to keep it rolling here with Dallas. Oh, we got the W, 8-8. Big one against Miami, maybe? All right, it looks like we have been eliminated from playoff contention, so this game doesn't mean much, unfortunately. But I think we've had a pretty good season. Of course, our punter's out. Ooh, we could put him on IR and just sign another one. Let's do that. Our center is also out. Oh, I was about to throw him on IR. It's fine. Can we run with only one center? We just need to open up one of these guys, I guess. Maybe Kirk. All right, we got the win against Miami to end the season. Double-digit victory. Nice. A lot of questions, though. We went 9-8. It was an improvement from last year, 5-11. But we've got... I think we've got a nice roster building here. Armand Membu has come along really strong. There are some decent... Like, Garrett Wilson... He played 16 games. I'm tripping. But we still got to figure out some things at running back, because the run game, I'm guessing, is not strong. Oh, the rushing game actually did pretty well, probably because of the line. But we could add some talent there to really put that over the top. And then our defense struggled. 19th against in the run. So we got to get a run-stopping unit together. Probably, I'm guessing, a nose tackle. We got to do something better than Tonga and Bobby Brown. Those were nice little stopgaps, but we got to find something in the draft probably. And then Jabari, our first rounder from this past season, had a really nice season, 11 and a half sacks to start. He's going to be a stud going down the stretch, or go through the stretch of this playthrough, so I'm excited about him. I think this is a step in the a nice step in the right direction. 9-8. We'll build on some of our cohesion with the team. The biggest thing we got to figure out is Justin Fields' contract. We could re-sign him right now, but he's only playing 10, 11 games, and he's not really maybe the best thing to begin with, but is he the best thing available for us? Possibly, because we're not drafting and we're not trading for a quarterback. So we'll have to figure those things out and see what we get. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next season. Peace.